Right now on Sports Extra, Braves baseball is back. We're breaking down every aspect of the series win to start the year out in Philadelphia. And what a week it was out at State Farm Arena. The Hawks come out of the other side of a gauntlet homestand in a really good spot. Could this be a sign of what's to come when the playoffs arrive? Plus, Raheem Morris spoke about the new plans for the new Falcons offense at this week's annual league meetings, what fans can expect this fall, and so much more. Happy Easter, everybody. Sports Extra starts right now. Yes, sir. Happy Easter, everybody. I'm Reggie Chatman. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight. Baseball is officially back, and the Braves came out firing to start the 2024 campaign. Let's get right into it. Allow me to direct your attention to this. The Braves are 2-1 to start the year after taking the series from their division rival Phillies. The Bats picked right where they left off in the regular season, with everyone contributing, outscoring them by 13 runs over the course of the weekend. Hopefully a sign of things to come as the season gets fully underway.
I mean, it's the same guys, pretty much. And they're all, I kind of think, they're all young enough they're going to continue to improve and get better. And I've just seen, really like the at-bats, the contact, putting the ball in play. We've done a really good job of that. I think it's paid off.
All right, we got a big weekend, and we've got some big-time guests, a couple of guests you can hear really anywhere you want to hear some Sports Talk Radio. 680 The Fans home team Brandon Leak and Locked On Atlanta's Tanitra Batiste here to break it all down. Home team, very simple question for you to start. It's a New Year's, same Braves, huh?
Yeah, it is, and it looks like this season will be tabbed unfinished business. They picked up, as you said, right where they left off. Everything going right for the Braves. The home runs, the doubles, the triples, the stolen bases, the runs scored. You put up almost 30 opening weekend against your heated rival, and you had that done with a couple of your pitchers not getting the dubs. No win for Spencer Strider, no win for Max Fried, and you still come out of Philadelphia up 2-1 already to start the season. Fantastic start out of the gate for the Atlanta Braves.
You mentioned those pitchers. We'll talk about them in a second, but we got to talk about the offense, who was so good this weekend. Everybody was contributing in a big way. The Braves hitting .339 on the weekend, an OPS of .961, 39 hits, 12 doubles, 5 home runs on the weekend. And my question to you, Tanitra, is this. How big do you think it was for them to perform this way in the same ballpark they struggled so much last year in the NLDS?
I think it's huge. And I think you go back to the decision that Brian Snitker made to have Spencer Strider be his opening day starter. I personally think that was a statement move to say, hey, Phillies, we understand what you did to us in the postseason, and we're coming for blood at each and every opportunity that we can. And so whether it's Ozzie Albies who gets out there and hits that home run, everything that I feel like the Braves were doing in spring training was kind of gearing up for this moment to say, yeah, we know it's 162 games in this season, and we know it's going to be a long season, but we want to make a statement coming out of the gate, and that's exactly what I felt they did. For me, guys, it felt like it was way more than just 2 wins and a season, a weekend series win to open the 2024 campaign. I felt like it was much more, it just felt bigger.
It felt big, and you mentioned that statement, Spencer Strider on the mound for the first game of the year. And my question to you, home team, in this is what stood out to you in his first start of the year? He went 5 innings, allowed 2 homers, but finished with 8 strikeouts in that game.
Well, the strikeouts were there. You certainly wanted him to be there long enough to get the win. The runs came late with a late inning rally and onslaught. But the news of his curveball now being introduced into the repertoire didn't get up to 20% usage. So we'll see how he's going to use his curveball in combination with his other pitches. But, you got 8 strikeouts. He was in pretty much control of things, and you're not going to win them all. So we'll see where he goes the next time we get out there with Spencer Strider on the mound, and we'll see if these strikeouts add up to wins instead of just being in a close game the next time, where hopefully he can get his first win of the season.
Overall pitched pretty well. You maybe are more worried about Max Fried, who pitched on Saturday. His outing looked a little bit different. Only 2/3 of an inning, gave up 3 runs. Yes, he got messed over a little bit because of a bad call, but what went wrong overall for the lefty?
I think it was a part of it for me was maybe just nerves a little bit.
Really?
Sometimes, yeah, because think about it. This is an off season where a deal wasn't done. So sometimes that can be hanging over your head. This is the first time in a couple seasons that we've seen Max Fried not be the opening day starter. And sometimes those things give you a little bit of a jitter, if you will. And I know, Reggie, to your point, he did get a bad break with the call with Nick Castellanos, but you never know how that might impact a pitcher. And sometimes, I know Max Fried is the ultimate and consummate professional, but you never know how that could have happened, what that could have played out in his head. But I will tell you this.
That was it right there. That should have been strike three.
Exactly. You
that
see it. Right. It's as clear as day for us. But I tell you what, Reggie, I'm not concerned. I think in a couple days we're going to see him come back here when there's the season series opener against the Diamondbacks, and we're going to see the real Max Fried. And I think the bigger story may be the fact that I think we all know the secret weapon this season. The secret sauce is that bullpen. The secret sauce showed up.
I think it's exciting also because this upcoming weekend, Braves fans get to see Chris Sale for the very first time. The big-time offseason acquisition, went 5 1/3 innings, allowed 5 hits, and just that first inning home run. 7 strikeouts on the game on Sunday. So what do you think he brings to this team the most, and what did you like the most in his outing?
Strikeouts, presence. Again, it was similar to Strider in that the runs didn't come until late. Now, this was a closer game today, so you get into these pitcher duel. You hate that you didn't get it against their third pitcher today, and we had our guy who was making his debut. But the bottom line is he did a really good job of coming out there and establishing a little bit of dominance. So I think much like Spencer Strider, you have to give him 2 or 3 starts, let him get comfortable, and then let the season breathe. But the bottom line is, what I learned, I think what we learned is no matter what's going on with the pitching, the bats will always be a threat, and you are always in danger. First part of the game, middle part of the game, or the end of the game if you have somebody out there facing an Atlanta Brave.
I don't understand how anybody hits the ball for Chris Sale because that arm slot out of left hand is really kind of nuts.
And it's kind of
kind of 3/4. Right, I don't even know what he's doing there. Anyway, look, we talked about spring training and some of the struggles for Jared Kelenic, and another offseason addition. He had a good weekend though. 5 for 7, had a walk, scored twice, also knocked in 2 runs. My question to Nitra is this. Is it too soon to say that Alex Anthopoulos really just stole him?
Is it ever too soon to give Alex Anthopoulos flowers? We can give him flowers at any point because just about every move he makes always seems to come up, and no pun intended, by the way, guys, but it always seems to come up roses. And I think with Jared Kelenic, maybe he had a slow start to spring training, but we saw towards the end of spring training, he was starting to look a little bit better. And sometimes maybe the polar opposite when you don't have pressure on you, like maybe he had at some of his other stops. Here, he's not that guy. He's not even asked to be that guy. Sometimes taking that pressure off of you and just a little bit of tweaking here and there with how you approach things at the plate can make a world of difference. And maybe we're starting to see that with Jared Kelenic early on this regular season.
It's been cool too because no matter who they put out in left field this weekend, they played well. Adam Duvall, his platoon buddy, 2 for 6, had a walk, scored once, 3 RBI. He's back with the Braves, and what does he bring to this group?
Well, he brings, I've been here and done that before, he brings a clutch bat, and he's a guy you can count on whether he's going to be starting or finishing a game or starting and not finishing a game. So it's one of those deals where he's been here, it's probably his last go around as a professional Major League Baseball player, and being a part of this clubhouse already before, he fits right in and he knows exactly what his role is. He doesn't have to press, he doesn't have to push, just go out there and play his role, and that's what he was able to do, especially in that first game when we put up a boatload of runs.
Yeah, they looked really good overall this weekend. This whole team can really hit, man. By the way, let's go to our final segment of the block. It's time for What Are the Odds? And reminder, this is for strictly entertainment purposes only. This is not betting advice. I wouldn't take it from me. I can't speak for that. Don't take it. But let's have a little bit of fun with this. Ronald Acuna Jr., no home runs this weekend. Time to really overreact. What are the odds he actually gets up to 40 home runs, Teacher? Real quick on this.
Oh, yeah, overreaction if you think he's not going to get over 40 runs. People, settle down. He'll be fine. Acuna Jr.'s coming for it. He'll be fine.
All right, so my question also is this. I'm going to continue with the fun here. The Mets, they really struggled this upcoming week. This last weekend, swept by the Brewers, got owned by Rhys Hoskins, and had a pair of suspensions handed out the first weekend of games. So the question is this. What are the odds they even get a win this year, home team?
That would be high, but how many over one, I think, is a better question. They're in a bad position. This is the Braves and the Phillies division, and they're going to be on the big stage. They're going to be the 2 teams battling it out, and it's just too bad. You would like a lot of competition, particularly with these 3 teams, having big fan bases, but nobody's going to boo-hoo for the Mets having a bad start, bad middle, or bad ending to their baseball season around here.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Remember the media out there was talking all that mess about the Braves a couple years back? Come for the king, you better not miss. All right, let's talk about the Hawks after the commercial break. We're breaking down everything from their 4-1 homestand. Those are a pair of exciting wins over the Celtics after the break. Welcome back to Sports Extra, everybody. We're talking about the Atlanta Hawks, who just when you think we're out, they just drag us all the way back in. 3-1 over their homestand with a pair of the most exciting wins this season over the Boston Celtics, who have the best record in basketball. The second one somehow overshadowed the biggest comeback in franchise history earlier this week as DeJounte Murray hit the game winner over the Boston Celtics. Home team, very simple question. Are the Hawks back?
No.
Okay.
But we could get ourselves a play-in game at home, and you just have to take this season for what it is. Disappointing and a lot of injuries. No Trae Young, no Onyeka Okongwu, no Jalen Johnson. Baddest team in all of basketball comes through. You come back from 30 one night, you do them at the buzzer, in overtime another night. You take those wins and you see if you can catch the Chicago Bulls. Get the fans who have supported this team throughout a tough go of it. Get them a home play-in tournament game, and then just see where the chips fall.
The question is how much better can DeJounte Murray even be, man? He stepped up in a huge way over the last week. 28 points a night over the last 10 games, a career-high 44 in that game winner on Thursday. What were you maybe most impressed with?
I think it's him making everyone else around him better because, 44 points in 47 minutes is lights out, but it was the fact that there were so many other players in double digits every single game. Even the game against the Bucks that the Hawks almost came back and won, everyone else was doing well. Double digits, not just that, but it was the way he was distributing the ball, the way he had the basketball vision, the basketball IQ, presence of mind at every single moment in the game was so very critical. And I felt like we were able to actually see some of the things that other players were able to do that maybe we hadn't seen before. Like we said, we saw Vit Krejci come in and do some big things, and I think a lot of that was because of the comfort level DeJounte Murray had with him. And think about it, there were a lot of players who got valuable minutes this last week whom we hadn't really seen a lot, and that's because so many players were injured. But think about it, DeJounte normally is the one who gets the second unit jump started if it's not Bogdanovic. So you kind of saw that chemistry easy for him to fit in and get those guys going very quickly.
Better defense in spurts. Guys are getting a little bit more of an opportunity to touch the ball. You see DeAndre Hunter get a feel for the game. Vit, as Tanisha was talking about, and even you see Bogey, he had a monster game even though it was a loss last night. Everybody seeming to flow, and I think the biggest thing, better defense in better, longer spurts when it matters. And I think they may have exposed the Boston Celtics for the postseason. Those they can still go to sleep, and teams that have a little bit more firepower than the Hawks can certainly beat them in a game or two in a course of a 7-game series.
Well, then my question is this. I mean, how much do we take from these 2 wins? At the end of the day, yes, 2 wins over the Celtics are obviously large, but they were 7 players down. What do we learn about this group?
You can play defense if you want to.
Just effort, right?
The question is, why don't you want to? If you can beat the Boston Celtics twice, if you can go head-to-head with the Milwaukee Bucks for a good 3/4 of it, you can do that on a night-in, night-out basis. The question is, why don't you? And that's the riddle, I think, that either has to be solved by Quinn Snyder or by our general manager at the end of the season when moves probably will have to be made.
And that's one of the positives, I think, Reggie, from all of this is getting to see these players to the extent that we do.
Yeah.
Good. That means Landry Field, you got some work to do. You got some things to think about. Give so much credit to Quinn Snyder also for being able to get the best out of these players for this entire 5-game homestand after what we saw, unfortunately, on the West Coast trip where they were only able to get 1 win out of that 5-game stretch.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing really well at the right time. I mean, as you're trying to get into a very important stretch of the season. They're 1 game back for the 9 seed, and they're going up against the Bulls on Monday night. Why is it important, home team, for them to just keep winning? I mean, at some point this year, we're talking about just tank it, blow it all up. Are wins important now as you try and get to the playoffs?
I think the way people are playing is more important.
Okay.
And Landry Fields is going to need some trade pieces that people may want. So hope for everybody to score 20 points a game the rest of the way. And I think, again, a treat for the fans. This has been just a season of letdown expectations. And get you what you can get. And what's still gettable is 1 home play-in game. Is that what you want? Is that where you want the expectations to be and the ceiling to be? No. But that's where it is. Don't let that slip out of your grasp. If you can catch the Chicago Chicago Bulls, put them in the rearview mirror, and give us at least one home game. Who knows, that might turn into at least another home game for the playoffs.
Could be a whole lot of fun if we do get that game here in Atlanta. Tanisha, my question also is, who's kind of stood out to you the most over this span? You mentioned some of those guys. DeJounte has clearly been incredible, but who else has really stepped up to you?
Oh, I'd have to go with, and I'm going to give him his newfound name from the referee Saturday night, Fernando Bruno.
Okay.
That's his new name, not Bruno Fernando. So I guess when you play as well as he has, then all of a sudden you get a reversal of a name, you get a nickname, whatever it is, we don't care how you got it. We just are happy that Bruno Fernando is doing the types of things that he's doing because he's playing some really great two-way ball. And this is a guy who had an opportunity to see when he was down in College Park with the Skyhawks. And you know the Skyhawks are all about developing players defensively. So being able to see him really put that into play, playing cleaner defense because we're seeing less personal fouls here, and we're seeing him even get to double-digit scoring. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Bruno.
This, of course, is the big question, though. They're 10-8 without Trae Young. DeJounte Murray has really elevated his game. What does this group look like when he finally comes back home, Tim?
Well, you know, we can't play that game. Well, Trey's out, so look at what the Hawks are doing.
Yeah, right.
No, your scoring is out. Defense has been better.
Yeah.
And your scoring is down. You are going no place in the National Basketball Association without an all-star or two. And right now, we only have one. So for anybody talking about, well, Trey's not here, great. We've seen some guys step up. You've seen some opportunities with the minutes that have been doled out. Now the question is, Trae, is DeJounte going to stay with him? Is one of those guys going to leave? Is it going to be a situation where we have a totally different team next year? You're not going anywhere without Trae Young, so I don't think we need to start talking like that.
I'll tell you, the Hawks winning is both a lot of fun, I'm sure, for the fans, for that team, and for us on this desk. I mean, it feels like we got a lot more to talk about when they're getting wins. We'll see how they do come Monday night. All right, coming up, the Falcons have been busy so far in free agency. How their new additions are expected to contribute on a brand new offense after the break. Welcome back to Sports Extra, everybody. With the trade to Arizona, the Desmond Ridder era is officially over for the Atlanta Falcons. But new head coach Raheem Morris has nothing but good things to say about the team's former QB1 during this week's annual meetings.
Desmond was a great kid and did not come to us and demand a trade. He did not come to us and do anything like that. He was in working out, doing the things that he's supposed to do. The opportunity presented itself for him to get a new start. The opportunity presented for us to add speed to our room and do some things at our receivers part.
All right, so Desmond Ridder is gone. What will you really remember most about his time, and do you think it was a good decision, what Raheem just said right there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the decision to part ways with Desmond Ridder was the right call. I think that we have heard these two words ringing in our ears since the day Raheem was presented to us, or introduced to us rather, as head coach, and that is elite processor. And we didn't see anything in Desmond Ridder's era that showed that he had that capability or that he could evolve into an elite processor. So yeah, I think this was just the time to part ways. And I think, too, that's showing you something different under the Raheem Morris, Terry Fontenot era, saying that they move expeditiously. If something's not working or they don't anticipate that it will, they're just going to move on. So I think this was the right move.
Horrific decision. It's not his fault. He was not ready to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And Arthur Smith put all of his chips and faith into his quarterback trying to carry this team over the finish line to win a division title. It didn't work. Cost a lot of people a regime change. And I wish him well. He just was not the quarterback that was going to take the Falcons where they need to be. And I think he lost some confidence. So maybe going to back up. Who knows? Maybe he can be in the NFL for a few years. And if he gets another opportunity, he will be ready then. But he certainly was not ready the last year.
Yeah, there was really a kind of an up and down situation that was mostly down. Only threw for 2,800 yards, had a whole bunch of turnovers throughout the seasons, which means the offense is going to look a lot different this upcoming season. Coach Raheem also talked about that this week as well.
It's really funny because it's not really just my vision. It's not really just what we had here in place already. We're building a whole new Atlanta offense with Zach Robinson and all those people that I mentioned before. And I thought it was really important that we get threats on all three levels of the field. And Drake provides such a good threat from an underneath standpoint, from a high cross standpoint, from the stuff that he can really do, and he's done well throughout his career with the toughness that he displays. And I thought putting pieces around him, like the Moonies, like the Rondell Moores, and some of the guys that we're to bring in, and even some of the guys that we brought back that were already on our football team, I think those guys fit well within that room.
Home team, what should we expect from the offense this year?
I'm expecting to see an offense like the Rams. I'm expecting to see an offense that has a quarterback throw more than 30 touchdowns, and I'm expecting an offense that scores more than 17 points a game, which should be an offense that gets them an NFC South title.
What maybe be most exciting, you think?
Oh, for me, it'll be just having a high-flying offense. I mean, when I think back to the Matt Ryan days, that was the exciting part. Matt Ryan had running backs. Devontae Freeman comes to mind because he was here when I first started on the Falcons beat. So there were running backs, and that run game was strong. However, it was the passing game, right? That was what we all came to the stadium for, and I think those days are about to return, especially with Kirk Cousins in the building and with the weapons that the Falcons have gone out so far to get in free agency, but also potentially with some weapons maybe in that second wave as it relates to wide receivers in the upcoming draft.
How exciting a time is it for Falcons fans, man?
It
I mean, it seems like a brand new era, new coach, new quarterback, a lot of new pieces. We'll be excited to see what it looks like in 2024. Finally, let's talk about some golf really quickly. The final round of the Texas Children Houston Open this afternoon. Let's start with last week's winner, Paul Malnati, with the hole-in-one on the 7th hole. What a shot right here. That's his 3rd of his career. Watch it roll on in right there. I love it. By the way, this was a tight one down the stretch. Steven Jaeger in the lead. Scotty Scheffler looking to send it to a playoff, but can't make the shot as Jaeger wins for the first time on the tour after 135 tries. He also punches his ticket to the Masters next month. All right, coming up, we wrap things up with our video of the week with a shot you just don't want to miss. That's next. All right, guys, it's our final block, and it's our video of the week. A Hawks fan named Jack hits a half-court shot to win $10,000, and to make it better, DeJounte Murray wrote on Twitter he'd give him another $10K after seeing it. Tanitra, would you give him $10,000?
I would give me $10,000.
I get it.
I don't know if I give him $10,000, but listen, I'm not mad about it at all because at the end of the day, congratulations to Jack for winning the 10 grand. And I'm thinking to myself, it's Easter Sunday, and like, remember when we were little kids and you get like a little bit of the money, like the ching ching type of, but it was the clinky money. It wasn't like the money that you wrap up and put in the bank and like invest or whatever. But hey, kid, do you, Jack? Congratulations for DeJounte Murray being such a generous guy. Happy Easter to you, man.
I'd give him $10,000 of DeJounte's money. The things you want to see. You want to see people graduate from college, people get married, and people hit shots like this. Congratulations to that guy, and everybody in the building roots for a person who has a chance to walk away with a little bit more in their pocket than they did when they walked in the building.
I feel pretty confident that I could knock that shot down.
I was thinking
I absolutely could do
Mega
it.
Millions is not working out for me. I'd rather have that shot.
Me too. I take my shot on that. Yeah,
Guys,
shoot your shot there.
Thank you guys so much for coming on the show. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week.